Between the early and mid-1860s, the vessel's owners frequently encountered a series of accidents with the vessel trading hands. The lives of 3 captains were also lost, which further added to the negative reputation gained by the vessel. However, despite the mass negativity garnered, the ship managed to have successful voyages, although the negativity far outweighed this success rate. The mystery of Mary Celeste started soon after the ship was tasked with the transportation of about 1,700 alcohol casks to the Italian province of Genoa in the year 1872. The vessel, which departed as per her schedule on November 7, 1872, did not reach the Genoa's port at all but was found to be adrift in the Gibraltar Strait by the vessel Dei Gratia, which had left the New York harbor precisely a week after the Mary Celeste's departure. On October 20, 1872, Briggs arrived at Pier 50 on the East River in New York City to supervise the loading of the ship's cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol. This alcohol is an ethanol that has additives to make it poisonous, bad tasting, foul-smelling, or nauseating to discourage its consumption by the crew. His wife and baby came on board on Sunday and Briggs wrote to his mother saying the vessel was in beautiful trim and I hope we shall have a fine passage. Following some bad weather, the ship finally set sail on the 7th of November, 1872. While Mary Celeste prepared to sail, the Canadian brigantine Dei Gratia lay nearby in Hoboken, New Jersey. It was awaiting a cargo of petroleum that was headed to Genoa, traveling via Gibraltar. Captain David Morehouse and first mate were highly experienced seamen. Captain Briggs and Morehouse were likely close friends as they shared common interests. It is thought they dined together the night prior to setting sail. The Dei Gratia set sail on the 15th of November, 8 days after Mary Celeste, and followed the same general route. The Mary Celeste traveled across the Atlantic Ocean to reach the destination of Genoa, Italy. The ship experienced intense weather for 2 weeks before it was expected to reach the Azores. The Mary Celeste was expected to reach the Azores Islands a couple days before according to the ship's chronometer. However, the ship had yet to see land. After seeing nothing for weeks, Captain Benjamin S. Briggs wrote in the logbook on November 25 that they had finally seen land. The logbook declared that they were approximately 6 miles from Santa Maria Island, which is part of the Azores Islands. 9 days later, on the 4th of December, the Dei Gratia, ship captained by David Morehouse, noticed that a ship with only 3 sails set was drifting away from the Azores Islands. Captain David Morehouse realized the ship in the distance was the Mary Celeste and began to be concerned. The first and second mates were sent by the captain to check on Mary Celeste and the crew members. When they climbed on board, they found the ship deserted. The sails were poorly set and in a bad condition. The rigging was damaged and the ropes hanging over the side. The fore and larboard hatches were open and the ship's main lifeboat was missing. The binnacle housing the ship's compass was moved and the glass cover broken. There was about 1.1 m of water in the hold and the device for measuring the depth of this water was abandoned on deck. They found the ship's daily log in the mate's cabin, and its final entry was dated at 8 a.m. on November 25, 9 days earlier. It recorded Mary Celeste's position then as just off Santa Maria Island in the Azores. The cabin interiors were wet and personal papers from Briggs were scattered in his cabin. Missing were his navigational instruments and the ship's papers. Galley equipment was neatly stowed away. There was no food prepared or under preparation, but there were ample provisions in the stores. There were no obvious signs of fire or violence. After investigation, these men realized that there was no sign of the captain, crew members or family on the Mary Celeste. However, the most unusual finding was that nothing was out of place on the ship. The ship was sailable and contained the logbook, food, water, alcohol, clothes, Sophia's toys, and an imprint on the bed from Sophia, all without any sign of distress. Under maritime law, anyone salvaging a ship could expect a substantial share of the combined value of the rescued vessel and cargo. Morehouses decided to split the crew between the two ships and proceed to Gibraltar. It was slow going and both ships were in port by December 12, 1872. The investigation. The Gibraltar hearings began on December 17, 1872, and lasted until March 1873. Edward Joseph Baumgartner was the Registrar of the Admiralty Court, and Frederick Solly Flood was the Attorney General for Gibraltar. The judge was James Cochrane, and the lawyer representing Dei Gratia was Henry Peter Pisani. Solly Flood ordered an inspection of the Mary Celeste, which was carried out by Shipping Inspector John Austin and diver Ricardo Pertinato. Theories over the years have ranged from mutiny and pirate attack to assault by giant octopus or sea monster, while the more scientifically minded proposed an explosion caused by fumes from the 700 barrels of crude alcohol in the ship's hull. For 5 theories of what happened to Mary Celeste, this article is both fascinating and fanciful but worth a read. For a perspective from the time period, it's good to look at how the incident was being reported. The Boston Post of February 1873 argues that the crew have been murdered by pirates. This conclusion is reached because of the amount of blood found on board, the fact that there appeared to be articles destroyed and missing, and the suggestions that pirates were active in the area.